Welcome here to the Avalon Theatre for meeting all the candidates that are running for the election this year. Thank you so much for joining us. This evening has been brought to you by the Souris and Glewood Chamber of Commerce, the Avalon Theatre, and WCG TV, all by volunteers, I might add. I am your moderator this evening, and my name is Laura Higgs. A bit of housekeeping, please silence your phones so they don't disrupt us during the event. And also that the purpose of this meeting is to get to know all the candidates for the Souris and Glewood municipal election, taking place on October 26, 2022. Time does not allow for questions from the floor. However, the candidates may very well be available after the program to speak to audience members. They also will provide their contact information if you have any questions before the election. Now we're doing 3 groups today. The first group is going to be the candidates for the Southwest Horizon trustee positions. There's 2 positions and 3 people running. Then we'll move on to the municipal council, and then we'll finish up with the mayoral candidates. All candidates will be asked the same questions, and all responses will be timed. Candidates, did you hear that? All responses will be timed. Loretta over here, Loretta Turner, will be raising the orange flag and telling you your time is up. We will give you just a few seconds to finish your sentence, but we need to move on to the next one. This is a very time-sensitive event, and we want to make sure that people get home in time as well. All right, so let's start with Southwest Horizon trustees running to represent Ward 4 of Souris. The candidates are Trevor Butler, Tegan Cleaver, and Brent Follis. Tegan will be joining us by pre-recorded video, and Brent Follis has declined involvement at this time. Let's start with Trevor, and then we'll move on to Tegan. Please state your name and tell us more about yourself. You each have 1 minute maximum to respond.
All right, thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and I also thank the Chamber for the invitation to come and just share a little bit about who I am. My name is Trevor Butler. I thoroughly enjoy public speaking. I'm also known to be a little sarcastic if I'm nervous. And also thank you for putting me first. Another good plus. I've been a trustee since May of 2021 through a by-election for the Southwest Horizon School Division. I'm originally from Deloraine and born and raised and educated through Deloraine Collegiate Institute. My wife and son and I moved here about 5 years ago to Souris. And my son's in middle years, and I'm just looking forward to connecting with a few of the community members tonight. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tegan Cleaver, and I'm running for school trustee. I'm a financial advisor with Keystone Wealth Management and a life insurance specialist with Guild Insurance Group, and an instructor at ACC's life insurance program by trade. I am also a granddaughter, a daughter, a wife, but most importantly, a mother to 3 amazing children. I was born and raised here in Souris. I spend most of my free time during the winter months at the rink watching my kids, and in the summer down at the river, on the water, or at the golf course. I love to travel, read, skate, curl, golf, swim. I believe in being in the present moment, taking each day by day and challenging yourself to learn something new and to always be open to new possibilities.
Question number 2. Why have you let your name stand for this position? You each have 2 minutes maximum to respond.
Thank you. I have a few reasons. I do believe that I can add value to the school board. I have a history. I was a trustee for a Manitoba independent school for a number of years. I have about 25 years of management experience across a broad number of industries, including working with provincial and federal government agencies. I think with that well-rounded background, I can add good value to the board in decision-making, particularly when it comes to managing finance and budget. I also believe that local representation is very important. And right now there's a tug-of-war between our provincial government and our local communities to centralize decisions that are made on behalf of the province for a group out of, say, Winnipeg making decisions for groups out of Souris. On a more personal note, I'm a parent. And I truly believe that it is my role as a parent to partner with the school, the teachers, the administration to give my child and every other child their best educational experience.
I am running because I believe that if you want to see and be a part of change, you have to be willing to help where needed. I have 3 children who all attend Souris School in grade 6, grade 4, and grade 1. I have sat as the president on the local daycare board, as treasurer on the local figure skating board, and volunteered as manager with minor hockey too many times to count. And that is why I'm running as a trustee for the Southwest Horizon School Division representing Souris.
And your third question, if you are elected into this position, what do you hope to accomplish during your tenure? You have 3 minutes to respond.
I'll start with a question for everybody here. Who feels, by a show of hands, that we have more than enough money from our provincial government to provide the best possible education experience for our youth? Thank you, everybody in the back, for raising your hands. Appreciate that. Also sarcastic. Something that's on the horizon is a new funding model that's being announced and enforced by our provincial government. The new funding model, I believe, will make a large impact for our area in particular. Part of the funding model justification is to try to make the funds more equally distributed. And to be honest, the province believes we have been in a have position as opposed to a have not. And what that means for me is, for my one of the focus points will be to try to do all that I can to add strategy to keep the dollars in the classroom and to protect the students from what could be a really challenging budget year coming up. Secondly, I think we have opportunity to connect with the community and get more feedback to the school board. During this past year as a trustee, I've had a few opportunities to connect over certain issues, which has been great. I would really like to see that expanded. Has anybody received a survey request over the last week or so, maybe by email or text? Yeah, a few hands. That's great. That would be one small thing that we're trying to do as a board to get feedback from the community. I think something else that we're missing, in particular for Souris, is a PAC or Parent Advisory Committee, really to get feedback from parents who have students in all the different age groups, and I really want to hear that so I can bring that to the board level, make sure we're doing our job to give direction and guidance in that sense. The other thing is, with a divisional school board, if you have a young school board, not in age but in experience, what happens is the school administration has to carry a lot of the weight in how the division is run. And I think the more opportunity we can to get quickly gain experience as trustees, then we can function better as a school board to focus on the things that are most important. So part of that for me is if I am elected, I would be encouraging new trustees to get onboarded as quick as possible, and be happy to share all the experience that I had over the last year, and so we can keep focusing on the task at hand. Thank you for the nice flag waving. Got that.
Honestly, I think that this is the hardest question to answer when running as a school board trustee, because I'm not going in there with any agenda or big ideas. I'm going there to help and give my voice and hopefully use the knowledge that I have to just help where needed. And yeah, please come out and vote for me on October 26th, and see you all then.
Thank you very much to Trevor and Tegan. Now, let's move on to the candidates for the office of councillor with Souris and Glewood Municipality. In alphabetical order, they are Bruce Apperly, Don Brown, Blake Denbowl, Sandy Denbowl, Detlef Eisner, Kim Eisner, Darcy Giroux, Karen Kempe, Savannah Hastings, and Todd Walker. We'll be beginning at the south end of the table here with the candidates, and I'll pose the first question, and then you can just continue to pass the mic down and answer them. Now, candidates, please state your name and tell us more about yourself. You each have a 1 minute maximum to respond.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce Apperly. Welcome. My spouse, Luann, and I moved to the community about 31 years ago. I was raised in a small community of Cardiff, Saskatchewan, and we've been married for about 37 years. We have 2 boys, Kyle and Colin. Both utilized the school here, graduated from the school here, and participated in local sports, and made a few trips to the medical center as well, being boys that they were. Now both our boys are married. Kyle and Shree are in Mooseman, and they have 2 children, Bea and Teddy. Colin and Jenna just got married, and they have 2 children, Nathan and Weston. I retired in 2020 after 34 years of hard work at Manitoba Hydro. You're welcome for that one. I was an administrative support supervisor in customer service. I'm a 25-year volunteer firefighter and current secretary-treasurer, and I'm also the executive member and secretary of the Souris Glenwood Golf Club.
My name is Don Brown, and I was born in Souris, Manitoba a little over 65 years ago. Received my education in the Souris School, got married in 1979, and Kim and I have had 5 kids, all born in the Souris Hospital. I have spent since 1975 farming with my family on a farm that started in 1881. My passions are family and farming and our pets. Some of my interests are making sausages of different kinds and following the global news and economy. That's it.
Hi everybody, I'm Blake. I'm the chiropractor here in town. I grew up in town here, went to school here. After high school, I went on to university in Brandon, lived there. Then I moved to Toronto, did 4 years of chiropractic college and internship there, and then my wife and I moved back to Brandon, lived there for a year, and then what was supposed to be a part-time clinic here in Souris turned into a more than full-time clinic here in Souris, and so we made the decision to move out here. So we're here full-time. I'm the proud father of Maylee and Kai Denbowl, and my wife is Beth. That's what I got.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out, and thank you to our hosts of this valuable community event. My name is Sandy Denbowl. I think my fiance, Doug Denning, is in the audience there. I have 6 children, and over 20 grants, including step grants. I've worked for Canada Post for 42 years and counting, 37 in the Souris office, and I've lived in Souris for 22 years approximately. I started on as counselor with the town of Souris in 2010, and then have spent the last 8 years with the municipality of Souris Glenwood. I'm presently serving as deputy mayor.
My name is Daryl Jackson. Thank you for attending this meeting. My name is Daryl Jackson. Thank you for attending this meeting. I was born in East Germany, former East Germany, and in 1953 my parents left East Germany. Otherwise they would have jailed my father because of not fulfilling the quota the government set. Short time in West Germany, my father rented a small farm. Farmland in Germany is very expensive, so you can't afford to buy a farm unless you got it inherited. I told my parents already when I was 17 or 18 years old that I won't stay in Germany. And when I started to date my wife, the minute is already over.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Eisner. Growing up, I've lived in many places, and it wasn't until I met Jan, got married, and moved to Souris 23 years ago that I found my home. We live on an acreage west of town and raised our 4 kids in this community. Over the last 20 years, we have owned and operated Vulcan Enterprises, a service rate company. In July of 2021, we purchased Tough Machining. Keeping it a locally owned business was important to us. I've been active in many organizations over the years. Some of the ones I've been involved in are Music in the Park, Souris Skating Club, Souris Minor Hockey, Souris Minor Ball, Souris Glenwood Community Development Corporation, Souris and Glenwood Chamber of Commerce, Parks and Recreation, and just last week I attended a food bank meeting, and now I'm a part of that committee, which actually happens a lot. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Darcy Giroux. I would consider myself a lifetime resident of Souris, growing up on the family farm in the rural municipality of Glenwood at the time, attending Souris School. I do remember the day in grade 1 where we moved from the old school to the new school. It was quite a memorable day for us in grade 1 anyway. Going to school in Souris I had never spent much time in Souris. After completing school and attending University of Manitoba, returning to Souris, working in an accounting office during the winter and farming in the summer. I got married in 1980. And we lived in town for about 3 years. A little bit of town life, not too much. Moved back to the family farm where we raised our 4 children. And after moving back to the farm, became a little more interested in the local politics. The counselor in our area at that time, Cyril Therrett, was due to retire, and he paid a visit over to our farm and tried to encourage me to get interested in the municipality and so on. And so then, soon after that, I joined the municipality in 1989. A lot of memorable years there, and then along came amalgamation, which was 8 years ago now, brought forward many different opportunities and things to think about. And as times wore on, being involved in the office and that job becoming more full-time, Curtis, I guess the rest you can leave up to your imagination. I will touch on the next session.
My name is Karen Kempe, and I've lived in Souris since May 2019 with my partner Harold. I guess we really did come for a visit and decided to stay for the lifestyle. I have always felt that if there was something that needed to be done and I could do it, I should. My community involvement in Souris includes being president of Hillcrest Museum, one of the coordinators of Peacock Days and Fair, a founding member of Souris Pride, a board member of the Souris Arts Council and the Souris Glenwood Chamber, and volunteering for the Beautification Committee and Avalon Theatre. I am an educator and the local reporter for The Recorder. I have also had a great deal of grant writing experience, securing $41,000 for the roof and water damage repairs for Hillcrest Museum. I have been described as capable, tough, and fair. I had to think about the word tough, but if it means I'm willing to tell it like it is in order to clarify matters to resolve an issue, then I'm okay with that word. I am a lifelong learner. What I don't know about being on a municipal council, I will learn, so that I can do my best to work toward the betterment of this beautiful community we all call home.
My name is Savannah Hastings. I've lived here in Souris for most of my life. I moved here in about 2007 to be closest to my grandparents on my father's side. I work here at the hotel in town. I previously worked at the corner store for around a year. And I always enjoy talking with people. I enjoy meeting new people, and I've lived in town and both on the farm in the rural areas in the former municipality of Glenwood. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Todd Walker, and I'm married to my beautiful wife and back, Christy Walker. I'm a member on council and was asked to join in 2018. I grew up on a farm west of Souris. I went to the University of Manitoba to study agriculture. And after university, I came back to the family farm to help run that for 15 years. And while on the farm, I started to work at an independent retail west of town. And I grew into being the manager of that for 20 years. So I have experience with purchasing, budgeting, and making decisions for the company as well as customers on the farm. Currently I work for Precision Land Solutions, and I help at Synergy Seeds, which is owned by my wife and Brett Locke. And I look forward to hopefully serving another term on council.
Thank you very much, candidates, for being brief. Well, most of you. We have question number 2, and we're going to start at the north end of the table, please. Why have you let your name stand for this position? Now, you each have 2 minutes maximum to respond. Todd?
It's on, okay. Why am I running? One term is not enough. I learned a lot in the past 4 years. I'd like to carry that knowledge forward for another term. I can offer a perspective of living on the farm and living in town. This helps me understand better. I don't feel there should ever be just one issue that prompts a person to run. As a counselor, you need to be able to look at the many priorities and be able to make mindful decisions in the best interest of the community. Being on committees and learning how they operate and seeing how we can improve or implement takes time and consistency. New people on boards with new ideas are always welcome. Our council meetings are open to the public and is also recorded and televised on our Access channel. I feel my experience, understanding, and confidence of knowing what is going on with the committees I'm involved in, as well as council, I can help strengthen and streamline the processes, create and implement new policies. I feel respected by town staff and ratepayers, and I believe I have a lot to offer in the role as councillor. There are many priorities to fulfill. Work on council is always ongoing, and I'm asking for your vote on October 26th.
I'm running to help make sure Souris Glenwood becomes an even better place to be. I have been told my whole life that there is only ever room for improvement. And I really think we can improve on what we have here in town and expand on what we have. One thing that I would like to do is increase financial transparency as well as making sure our rural roads are maintained. I have spoken with a lot of ratepayers, and that is something both in town and rural. They all say that the roads should be better maintained than what they are. Aside from that, we also need to make sure that we increase accountability among council and its staff, as well as increasing transparency overall, not just financially. Thank you.
I'm running for councillor because I am inspired by the vision and volunteerism of the people I've met here. I want to foster a positive environment within the municipality, whether it's about the peacocks or social issues or concerns about taxes and infrastructure. I want individuals and organizations to feel their voices are heard and that they are supported. I am running because I strongly feel members of council need to set aside personal opinions and biases and represent the population of this community and approach ideas with the questions, does this make our community better? And if so, how do we make it happen? I am running because I believe that council needs to work with people, stakeholders, businesses, and special interest groups to find ways to enhance and improve day-to-day life and grow the community through the attraction of new businesses and industries and continue to develop tourism potential. I'm running because I'd like to see partnerships between organizations and the municipality, and where possible, the sharing of resources for ideas and plans to come to fruition. I am running because I believe there needs to be greater transparency and a higher level of accountability in the municipal office regarding the business of the municipality and how things come to be. I am running because I believe that Souris has the potential for growth, and I am running to give people a voice and a choice.
Carol and I moved to Souris about a year and a half ago, and I guess that probably sparked my interest to continue on council more so. Between that and amalgamation, moving to town, learning more about town, it creates other interesting things and a much bigger entity to deal with. Rural and the town are so very different. It brings more, I think, opportunity as well as challenges. And I want to see this community grow and do well. I think we're in a great position to do that. Our location, sometimes proximity to Brandon is negative, but it could be turned around to be a positive thing too. So, we have grown maybe a small amount over the last few years. Hopefully that can continue or even do better. So, yeah, my passion for the community is what's kept me here, and even more so now with the amalgamation.
I'm running for council for several reasons. First, because I want to, and I can. I think it's very exciting that we're having an election for the first time in many years, and that we have so many people getting involved. For me personally, I would like to learn how Souris Glenwood functions and what it takes to keep our community running. Every organization I've been a part of, I have learned a lot about the hows and whys of things. I've also grown while working with all kinds of people with a variety of ideas and opinion. There have been many friendships made through all sorts of dynamics and situations, both positive and sometimes stressful. I've also noticed a shift in people being more invested in their local government, and we need to be with rising costs. We need to know the taxes we are paying are being managed well and appropriately. Citizens are wanting information and answers, and I think that's a good thing. Not everyone has the time or the ability to commit to civic office roles, so I think it's important that you have people in those roles that care as much as you do. While I think having experience being involved in organizations is an asset, I also feel that being a business owner, volunteering with short-term projects, being a parent of kids growing up in this community, and having a general investment in our community has taught me a lot too. I will bring all of that to my role as a counselor as well. For me, it's not just about one family, one organization, one business, one issue, but Souris Glenwood as a whole. While on the CDC, I was part of the website committee to try and make it more current and relative. It has not been updated since it was created. We kept hitting roadblock after roadblock that we shouldn't have. While that committee's requests and ideas never seemed to get anywhere, as a counselor, I feel this is something I can continue to work on and make changes needed. I will continue to be open-minded and an advocate for all ratepayers and push council to show you what we are doing for you. My hope is that I can be someone you can come to with questions, issues, or ideas and be heard, no pun intended.
Yeah, we moved to Souris in 1981, straight from Germany. It was a tough time. The first few years we had 20 to 21% interest rates. I decided to run for council just before the amalgamation of Souris and Glenwood. And my concern was that funds would be distributed fairly between the two, and so far there has been no problems about that. I was involved in the new hotel and during the financing and construction, and I wasn't very popular with the engineering company and the general contractor and one company especially. They thought I was a pain in the butt. One thing I want to point out, you don't learn it, you have to learn in your first term how the municipality is running, and it only makes sense to run a second time, or maybe even more often. One thing you got to
After some soul searching, at the end of the day, I realized I do have the passion, the time, the dedication, and energy to commit to another 4 years on council and service to the community. I think about the endless meetings and the many decisions to be made for the betterment of our community, hours of research, scrutiny that we're often under, and negativity at times. This challenges me as an individual to listen and do more to find solutions and make a positive difference in our community.
I guess I'm running because since we've been living in town and planned to be here for a while, I figured that maybe I could give back to the community in another way. I wanted to be an example, I guess, or a role model, I guess, for my kids, but any community member that hopefully we can show what it's like to have a group of like-minded individuals work together towards a common task and trying to accomplish it, and even as a role model that if we do disagree, that how can we find some common ground and still find some compromise and work forward. I've lived in town almost all my life, and I really don't know much what goes on in the town behind the scenes, and I thought that getting involved with town council and the municipality would be a really great way of not dipping my toe in, but really kind of jumping in there and trying to figure out new ideas, new solutions, and new things to do. So that's my idea.
Why I am running. I'm running for basically the same reason as before, and that has to do with the belief that local government must address the problems of ratepayers, both rural and urban ratepayers, and also in a very timely manner. When a ratepayer has a problem, it should be on record, which means if it is a public works problem, the ratepayer should be able to find mention of it in the public works minutes. This does not always happen, and this is something that I would like to see change. I can give an example, but I've decided I better not do that. So, an example that upsets me is when a ratepayer contacts a counselor or the office and says that their business has been flooded. The last response I want to hear when that is brought up is, that's impossible, everything was surveyed. The response I would like to hear is, we'll take a look at it. Another problem is the things that the municipal government must do, and the word must is very important. These are things that are covered by provincial laws and are things that you don't just say, we'll do it when we get around to it. And that has happened a lot. And it applies to roads and streets and drainage. It's not a situation that you just say, okay, we'll leave it for a couple years. These are things that are supposed to be done when they're brought up. And I don't see this happening all the time, and I would like to see that change as well. So I guess that's why I'm still hanging around here. Thank you.
I'm running. I was previously a counselor for about 10 years, and due to work requirements, I did not seek re-election, and that was at the time of amalgamation. Another reason is over the past year, I've had many residents come up and talk to me and ask me if I was going to run and encourage me to put my name forward. Many folks talk about the inability to get issues resolved, and I hear a lot about financial accountability. Roads, streets, culverts, drainage, water and sewer, all of areas of concern for rural and urban ratepayers. I have some of these concerns as well, and I have thoughts to correct some of these issues, but I'm also willing to listen and change my thoughts when a better solution is presented. The experience of previously being a counselor, I understand the operation of the municipality and the way it ties with the provincial government. My work experience involved lots of budgeting, yearly budgeting, monthly financial review, not only for my department, but 6 others. Customer concern and complaint resolution. When you got that nice January electric or gas bill, that complaint usually landed on my desk. Work planning and scheduling, and an experience in human resources. I believe that council and work experience will allow me to work for improvements in the areas that I've outlined.
Thank you. Now starting again at the south end of the table with Bruce. If elected, what do you hope to accomplish during your tenure?
The first one would be resolve ratepayers' concerns, improve that process for bringing forward complaints or concerns, and provide a point of contact for the councillors and mayor. Fiscal management, back to that stronger monthly review at council meetings. In-depth information for departments and committees on a monthly basis, or, if needed, more often. Improve that budgeting. Concerns I have is the increase of equipment, fuel, and supply costs. That's going to be a strain on the budget. And always the completion of the water utility rate study. Infrastructure plan. I think we need to review and expand the current plan, but more importantly, communicate that plan to the ratepayers through the website. Medical concern there. I would like to work with the committee for that professional recruitment, but I'd also like to meet with the community health professionals, the dentist, the chiropractor, for any assistance that they may need in this area. Protective services. We often talk about the RSMP and the protection provided by them, but also fire protection and others. operations. I'd like to improve the public works operations. I believe the Public Works Committee directs the public works staff, and I believe the foreman should be scheduling that work through the deadlines that were provided by the Public Works Committee. New business. I think review of the CDC, I don't know that process. I'd like to review that process for assisting new and expanding businesses. Make improvements there if needed. Again, communicate that process through the website. And also think bigger, like the feed mill or the biodiesel that we did when I was previously on council. What opportunities are out there that we can bring to our community? I've lived, worked, and retired in this community. I enjoy the recreation facilities, spend many hours on the river fishing, blessed to have the medical care available in this community, and I will continue to volunteer and work in this community. Thank you for your consideration. And I'd also like to thank the Chamber for hosting this event and for Access TV for broadcasting. And I also thank my fellow candidates for putting their names forward in this election.
Just a reminder, candidates, you have 3 minutes maximum to answer this question.
This was one thing I didn't write anything down for, so it's just going to be off the top of my mind. The the last time I ran, I talked to different people in the rural municipality about water. And I brought it up at meetings, and basically the idea was it was too expensive to think about. So no assessment was done on the idea of rural water. Well, just before the last provincial election, the provincial government offered $5 million grants to improve the quality or quantity of water in a municipality. Now, you can't go applying for a grant if you haven't done an assessment and know if there is a need. Once again, this time I found out that a lot of people are concerned about water. It's a big project, but it will also affect people in town. A utility basically has a cost of operation, and the more water that you can sell from that utility, the better it is for the utility. So, water rates in town are a concern. I've had lots of people say water is very expensive. The utility is doing better, but something that isn't mentioned too much is how many people are having a problem paying for the water bill. So, if there was a bigger revenue at the water plant, it means that maybe rates do not have to be pushed as hard. So the idea could be a plus-plus for both. The only thing is, will we ever have a chance, again, without doing assessment, to access money from the provincial government? That's all on that one. Bruce mentioned about the medical. Souris has been lucky. We've got some money the last little while to improve the emergency room departments, and that's a good thing, because without a medical system and without an education system in a town, basically the town will disappear. So it's nice to see that people have applied for this, and the province has acknowledged that maybe we needed a bit of help. But there are other things, I think, as well that can happen, and this might make people upset, but Sarah Anderson came in from the assessment department and explained something about taxes. When the budget is made up, we have to basically come up with a certain amount of money. It's set out between residential, agricultural land, and business taxes. The businesses in town had a really tough time for a couple of different reasons. There was the Crescent, and then there was COVID. And I had always thought that those rates
The flag is flying. Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you.
Well, I got to say, listening to these fine gentlemen beside me here, that my goals are pretty minuscule, I guess, because I really hope to learn a lot about more of what they're talking about. That's kind of my main goal. The goals that I kind of wrote down that I was hoping was that I really want to be on on council for the municipality and town here, just to try to work together to making more of a sense of community. You know, things have been out of our control in some sense for the last couple of years, and I really feel like our community has broken down, and I would like to work on bringing more community ideas together. I also would like to work towards some more self-sustainability for the town. So in regards to ideas for the community, small goals, but I hope that they can be accomplished. Little things like I'd like to get the fireworks back in the bowl so that then we could all get together, have some great memories down there, reminisce a bit, visit, exchange ideas, just get together. Second thing, kind of on a similar idea, is that I thought it would be great if we could get together a new fall tradition. My idea for that was like a chili cook-off. I mean, every family has the world's best chili recipe, right? And what if we got together and celebrated everybody's family, heritage, background, everything, and had a big chili cook-off for a weekend? And I don't know, maybe there's chili prizes of some sort. Who can eat the hottest pepper? I don't know. The idea is something like that. And also get back to doing our community supper. Gosh, you know, when we went to those, there was people that you only see at the community supper, and that's the only time you get to visit. So I'd like to see that stuff going again. In regards to self-sufficiency, I'd really like to see our community gardens come back. You know, we could get people working on providing some food for themselves, but also if there was excess, that we could give it to the churches and the food bank to give it to the people who need it. On a similar vein, what about some space set aside for like a community orchard or something where we could grow fruit trees? Same thing, make preserves, canned stuff, distribute it to people that need it. And I guess I think it was also mentioned as well that, you know, we all know about the deficiencies in the RCMP there. I was talking to some other counselors, and they had mentioned that we had previously looked at a private police force there. I don't know where we got to on that. I don't know if that's even a possibility, but just again, citizens on patrol and just more people who are in the community who know the community, and just try to take care of it better. So that's what I hope to accomplish. Thanks.
I don't hope to accomplish anything on my own. I advocate and truly believe that a successful community begins with strong leadership, clear and realistic goals, active community member participation, up to date with modern technologies. We must be competent and knowledgeable, have engaged staff who have clear expectations of their roles and responsibilities, always have consistent experience with frontline staff and administration, respectful attitudes. We don't isolate eccentric or different personalities. All ideas and input are valuable. We owe it to all ratepayers to follow a pursuit of excellence.
As I said, we moved to actually Glenwood in '81, and the community didn't really grow since then, maybe 100 citizens. We started a subdivision this year on the airport for business for industrial park, and hope we can attract some businesses in the near future. In order to grow, we have to attract more businesses, not only to increase the tax base, but to support the businesses they are already here. The last subdivision on the Forest Avenue took 7 years to get approved by the province. I hope this one won't take that long. If the subdivision on this Forest Avenue would have taken 2 or 3 years, I bet all those properties would be sold and houses be built, and would have brought tax revenues in for quite a few years already. The council will also keep working on the infrastructure. It was put on the side burner, not just in the municipalities, but all over the country and all over the world. And we have a hard time to catch up on it. As I said, those things have to be funded at least partly by the province and the federal government, otherwise we won't have enough funds for it. At the same time, we have to try to keep the taxes low. The low income earner and the ones who are on a strict income are the ones who are hurt the most. And the politician who caused these problems in the first place don't seem to give a damn, but have no scruples to give themselves a healthy increase, despite most of them are overpaid anyway.
If elected, I will be focusing on transparency and accountability from the council and the administration. Things like ensuring the next water rate review and application for revised rates are done by this year's deadline of December 31st and not left again for another 10 years. Delays in filing the request, as well as filing late or outdated information, is not acceptable and only promotes a negative relationship between ratepayers and council, as well as the Public Utility Board and the Municipality of Souris Glenwood. The same goes for the whole situation regarding the peacocks over the last year. There was no communication from the municipality about the issues or the process of deciding how to deal with it. This resulted in much division in the community. If we're going to be making decisions that affect the community, we need to be communicating as many ways possible and be open and honest with those that it affects. Economic growth and development, keeping Souris Glenwood moving forward, a current and progressive community. Healthcare access, childcare spaces, educational improvement, offering more opportunity to students, expanding and diversifying business opportunities. While we do have all these things, we need to be continually supporting, evolving, and growing with the demands and needs of our community. Residential and business development. I'd like to see the community grow a bit more. It's been around the same population level for more than 25 years. It's time to put more effort into increasing our population and business development. This will in turn increase our tax base and help with rising costs like repairs to maintenance, to the aging water and sewer system, road repairs, culvert and gravel work on our rural roads. We need to be competitive with brand and think outside the box to attract new residents, build new homes and new businesses. I also feel currently the business community has very little support from the municipality. Things like how to get started and expansion are difficult to get information on and support for. Fiscal responsibility. How are those tax dollars being spent? Having been involved with municipality-funded boards, I have seen well-managed versus not well-managed. It's frustrating seeing $400,000 given to the CDC in the 5 years that I was on it, and very little to show for that. Even when there was a very active group who pushed for progress and physically got to work in an attempt to complete projects, like the website, business development packages, and shoulder season tourism initiatives, to name a few. All municipally funded organizations should have to make the effort to be contributing to their budgets if possible, and not just relying on tax dollars to keep them running. As someone who's very community-minded, I've always enjoyed doing things here and there to make our community a little bit brighter and better. My current project is getting crosswalk lights installed at the intersection of Highway 2 and 250. I'm sure there will be many new ideas that will come up in the next 4 years that I'm also going to get excited about. I know from experience that change does not come quickly or easily all the time. But I hope that the next 4 years are productive and progressive for Souris Glenwood, and I hope to get to be a part of that. Regardless of the outcome on October 26th, I will continue to be involved in our community because I enjoy it and I want this to be a place that everyone can love and enjoy. Thank you.
Well, my interest is one of the main ones has been the financial part. I don't know whether we're sitting side by side here or not for a reason. Kim's got lots of ideas, and that is great. Being involved with the amalgamation and trying to balance everything, keep the budget fair and balanced and everything accounted for has been a big challenge. It's been 8 years, and thank goodness we've got a 2-year extension on that too. So it's been a very long process and challenging, and where do the dollars come from, and what projects do we do? Unfortunately, sometimes myself might have to be has been the bad guy probably a couple of times. So those are challenges, and some great ideas here to grow the community. Hopefully, we'll certainly look at some of them. Some of them are maybe are being considered at this point. We have some unfinished projects. I'll throw the caboose out there. We have some money in place to fix up that caboose. We just need some energetic people to put a committee together. The water rate study is due again. The last one was long overdue, and was some big increases in the water bill. So a number of things there. At the end of the day, we do want to see the community grow and do well. So I believe, and I still believe, we're in a good position to do that. So and at this point, I would really like to be part of it and help as much as I can. Thank you.
First of all, if elected as a councillor, I would reach out to the people and invite them to share ideas and concerns with me. Personally, and with the agreement and support of council and residents of this community, I would like to create a sustainability plan for the Souris peacocks. Whether people hate them or love them, they are the ambassadors of Souris and were sorely missed this summer. That sustainability plan would include a separate committee made up of citizens and stakeholders interested in their care and well-being within the community. I'd also like to explore the redevelopment of a bird sanctuary. I'd like to see some pianos on the streets, as a number of communities have done, to allow people to share their music with others. In some cities, street piano festivals are held, which would provide another reason for people to come and visit Souris. I would support the painting of more crosswalks. As an example, the side street by the Legion could be painted with the flags of the Allied forces that fought alongside Canada. Many communities are also painting orange crosswalks with white feathers to acknowledge Indian residential school survivors. Souris Glenwood has a rich history, which residents take pride in. I'd like to explore the idea of creating an historical archives or general museum to house historical documents in an appropriate manner, and possibly artifacts that are important to the area but do not fall within the mandate of the current museums. I would like to look at the potential and sustainability of the airport. The asphalt is in major need of repair in order to continue to accommodate the larger prop planes used for patient transfers to and from Winnipeg. This is a costly upgrade, and looking at expanding services offered at the airport may be a way to help find the money for this project. I would like to see a better connection between the municipality and the residents, both urban and rural, through partnerships and better communication. Minutes of council meetings need to be more detailed. Some meetings could be town hall meetings, and quarterly reports should be made available to all. On the website, residents should be able to see what areas councillors are overseeing and have access to an email address to make direct contact with regards to an idea or area of concern, with the expectation that a councillor will respond within 48 hours, making sure that the information residents are looking for is easily obtainable. There are always concerns around taxes and infrastructure, and I would take those concerns seriously and, along with council, do my best to address them and, as needed, find the appropriate solution to any problems. I would make sure that rural issues are recognized and addressed in an equal manner to town concerns. Souris and Glenwood are one community, and I would work to eliminate any us and them practices. I would work to make sure that the Municipal Council of Souris Glenwood was fulfilling the duties it is meant to with integrity and efficiency.
One thing I want to see happen if I am elected to council was when it comes to financial transparency. As ratepayers, you pay the municipality to ensure the municipality can offer services to you. Because it is your money, you all deserve to know how it is spent. One thing I would like to see council explore is the possibility of establishing something much like what they have in Australia, which at the end of every fiscal year, they send a letter to every single ratepayer displaying how much money they had explain how much taxes they had paid and what exactly it was spent on. So if someone had paid $1,000 in taxes overall, it would show if you paid $300 in education, $50 in defense, and $500 in health. I think that would be crucially important to making sure our financial transparency remains high. When it comes to recreation in Victoria Park, we should establish an accessible playground as well as looking at reestablishing the bird sanctuary that was unfortunately destroyed in the 2011 floods. We also need to make sure that council is held accountable. To do that, I think every council meeting should be recorded and posted online. That way, any specific decision that is made by council or councilors or how they voted on something, that way, if someone was concerned or has any questions about any actions taken, they can contact the councilor who took the course of action that they did to explain, to get some rationale as to why that action was taken. It also needs to be ensured, much like what Karen said, is that email addresses need to be posted on the town website for everyone to contact the councilors if they have any ideas, suggestions, concerns, or issues they are facing with the municipality. Thank you.
What I'd like to accomplish in the next term if I get elected is I'd like to continue to see Souris Glenwood a good place to live. And I raised my family here. My oldest daughter has come back to raise her family here, and I'd like to see that cycle continue more. We need continued growth in business and residential. We have to be mindful, though, as well of infrastructure and budgets. In town, there are many streets, underground upgrades, sidewalks to work on, and in the rural, there's roads, ditches, culverts, and other crossings to upgrade as well. Healthcare and ER services are very important to this community, always recruiting for doctors, nurses, paramedics, and hospital staffing. Taxes must be kept in line with inflation and affordable to the ratepayers, balanced with providing high standards of service. Town bylaws need to be enforced. It supports fairness for all and maintaining the beauty of our town. Recreation in our community is a big one. Increasing opportunities with different options is important to families, and keeping up with our current facilities is necessary. Park beautification and tourism are big attractions for this community and has been done well. We still need to financially support and have the volunteers and youth to keep this moving forward. Ongoing budgeting for water treatment plant upgrades and the fire department upgrades is necessary. Accountability, supporting the ratepayers, being visible and reachable to help ensure fairness and timeliness of their concerns. I'd like to thank you all for coming this evening, and I wish all the candidates well in the election.
Thank you. We have one more question, and this is put directly to those seeking re-election back onto the council. I believe there's 5 of you at this table. We'll start again with Todd Walker at the end. The question is, for those seeking re-election, what are the significant accomplishments you made in your past tenure? You have a maximum of 2 minutes to respond.
Well, this will be short. We've accomplished much in the last 4 years, and not one is more important than the other. And if you'd like to see a list of what we've accomplished, we have a 2-page list of many things that have been done. So that's what I have to say.
It's been a group effort. I certainly want to recognize the council as it is today. Have all worked well together, worked hard to come to compromises, come to the right decision in your in the budgeting. There's always things you have to remove, because we're overspending and that type of thing. So it's been a great council to work with, and I certainly appreciate having been part of it. And certainly, different things come up. I think of some of the ongoing things that we have that I've been involved in. I will mention the Souris Glenwood Foundation. It's a great strength for the community. We're able to give grants to various projects throughout the community, scholarships. Torrey Park Lodge, something that I started with when the municipality got it back. We continue to improve on it. It's a great facility and something that the community should be proud of. Parks and Recreation has been amalgamated, I think, for better. Some people, it was a tough transition to the rink and the park and the pool all transitioned into one entity, but I think it has worked well and is working well. Probably still a few things to improve on there. I guess those are some of the high points for me, but as Todd said, there's lots of other things, a long list of public works, things that have been done, and some still to do for sure. Thank you.
Well, I haven't accomplished anything on myself. It always was a group effort. And as Darcy already mentioned, surprisingly, there were very little discords that I am aware of, and if there was some, it wasn't dividing to the point that people were getting into their faces. It's my opinion. You have to talk to each other, and if they have different opinions, they either have to convince the other person to change his mind or come up with a compromise. In the case of Souris Glenwood, the council always had a majority on any vote, so it wasn't a big problem in the first place. I think the time we got to speak was too short. Politicians can talk for hours and don't say anything. So maybe that's something we should consider the next time.
I'd like to thank every other counselor that I have worked with in this past 4 years. It's true, we don't do it as an individual. We work together for the common good of everyone. But I am a little bit longer-winded on this one because I'm really proud of what we have accomplished in this past 4 years. The Crescent Avenue project was completed. That took a very long time, but I think most of us are happy with the results. I know a lot of our visitors embrace it and really enjoy it. Forest Avenue project is closer to being at full capacity. Everyone will love this one. Finally got the specialty shop, the old derelict building, removed at a huge cost. We actually hired a chief financial officer. That's been a long time coming. Civic Center renovation was done, and we worked on a very specific budget. We've moved to paperless council meetings, and each councillor and mayor are provided with a laptop and a municipal email, because that was mentioned about being able to contact people. We secured the services of a new vet for the municipality, which was quite an accomplishment. We've worked on a committee to establish a new employee-employer relationship. Blended mill rate came about, well, almost. A few little tweaks. Parks and Recs, as Darcy mentioned, has been amalgamated. put a swinging bridge or a washroom over at the east side of the swinging bridge, new washrooms in the community hall, and I could go on and on and on. And I thank each one of you who have been so supportive.
Use other mic, or is this okay? Interesting 4 years. But I have to echo the comments of other counselors that nobody really accomplishes anything by themselves. We sit down, we discuss things, and we vote on them. And sometimes I'm just let my short-term memory take advantage of me. And what I really appreciate is the seed money that we put into tracking down doctors. You know, the community has had doctors come and go, and we've never really had anything in place to address that problem, and I think we do now. And it was like so many other things that we've agreed on. That one was a unanimous vote, no problem at all, because I think all counselors take the concern of the community at heart. And that's about all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all the candidates for your participation today. First position, we'll be happy to hear from any voter, and we'll answer individual questions. Some of them will stick around for after the program, and some of them will leave their information in the back, and you can get a hold of them to continue a conversation. Now, our candidates for the mayor of the municipality of Souris Glenwood, Dwayne Davison and Daryl Jackson. Candidates, you are familiar with the format that we have tonight. You've watched, there was no shepherd hook pulling anybody off, but there was the red flag off to the right of the stage. So look for that for sure. Candidates, please state your name and tell us more about yourself. You each have 1 minute to respond.
Hi there. I'm Dwayne Davison. My dad is Keith Davison. My mom was Donna Davison. I grew up in Souris. We farm 7 miles north of town. I'm married to Lori Strath, who is also from Souris. We both lived literally all over North America, but always considered Souris to be home. We both also always knew we would come back here at some point. We just weren't sure when. We own a business in Alberta and operated until 2019 when we arranged for another company in Alberta to run it for us, which allowed us to then make the move. We moved back home and opened the Farm Safe store. We also have an ownership stake in a waste management company in Winnipeg, which is run by our business partner there. We anticipated we'd be happy with moving home, but I must say it's 10 times better than we ever could have imagined. And the added bonus is Mary Peterson's raspberry jam. Gotta love that stuff. We are absolutely thrilled to be back.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson, worthy opponent, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daryl Jackson. Souris has been my home for 42 years. For 35 years, I worked as a pharmacist at Whitfield Drugs. I have represented council on many different organizations and boards. I was appointed member of the Manitoba 2011 Flood Review Task Force, March 2012 to April 2013. With my colleagues on council, I worked very hard to get the swinging bridge replaced and Victoria Park rebuilt after the 2011 flood. We also received DFA funding to replace the Dunbar Bridge and recently received DFA approval to replace the washed out road near Dennings with a bridge. I've been a member of the Elks Lodge for 37 years. Playground in Victoria Park is one of our largest projects, and we are continuing to make it inclusive. I served 3 terms as chairman of the local Chamber of Commerce in the past. My wife Sherilyn and I raised our son here. We love this community.
Thank you. Candidates, question number 2. Why have you let your name stand for this position? You each have 2 minutes to respond.
Why am I running for mayor? Firstly, because I care deeply about our community. Since moving home, we haven't gotten the feeling that the community is heading in the direction that we envisioned. There appears to be lots of negativity, and people seem resigned to the fact that things will never change. We have heard of people quitting boards and committees out of frustration that their voices are not being heard and their opinions are being dismissed and they don't seem to matter. The incumbent has been in his position for 17 years, and my supporters and I feel that for the previously mentioned reasons and many more, it is perhaps time for a change. A change in attitude, a change in the corporate culture, and hopefully a change in the public's perception of how the community is being run. Like an old hockey coach who's had a long run, sometimes for the good of the team, a coaching change is necessary. I also feel that my business and community volunteer experience gives me the skill set needed to tackle this job. Some have said it's not a business, but make no mistake, that's exactly what it is. It's a unique business, though, in that our customers are also our shareholders. And our customers are sitting right here tonight. Our customers pay us with taxes and expect in return an acceptable level of service at a reasonable price.
Why am I running for head of council? Because I've spent 2 terms as a councillor and then 17 years as mayor, I feel I have the experience with my councillors' help to continue to serve the Souris-Glewood Municipality for the next 4 years. I believe my slogan says it all: much accomplished, much to do. We have made major improvements in Souris-Glewood over the last number of years, and I want to strive for more. I have the time and energy to put towards an improved quality of life for our residents today and into the future. I have worked on a medical recruitment committee for the last 6 months, and we have successfully recruited a nurse practitioner and a family physician to complement staff at Souris Medical Associates. We now need to focus on paramedic ambulance situation, which is in crisis. I am currently working on a committee of our Western Caucus group for this very issue. We have met with ACC staff, government officials, and union reps to bring back paramedic training to ACC in Brandon instead of potential candidates having to go to Winnipeg for a 2-year course. We are keeping our eye on staffing issues with nurses and lab and x-ray as well. My experience in dealing with provincial and federal government departments and my work with the Western Manitoba Caucus of Municipalities has been and will be invaluable in getting these and other projects completed. Although delayed a couple of years by the aftermath of the 2011 flood, our 5-year plan for capital and infrastructure renewal is back on track. I would like to see our current projects finished, and that is why I'm running to be your mayor for another term.
Question number 3. If elected to the position, what do you hope to accomplish during your tenure? You each have 3 minutes to respond.
Well, first let me say that if elected, I will be just one of 7 people around the table. So I really can't accomplish anything on my own. But what I do hope is that we are able to work together to accomplish several things. The first thing I would like to look into is the possibility of community policing, which was mentioned by Blake in his little talk. Perhaps using Riverdale as a model. They've had community policing there pretty much forever, and it seems to have worked for them. We spend a significant amount of money on policing with the RCMP every year, and I'm not convinced we're getting a reasonable return on our investment. I'm also committed to increasing transparency, as has been mentioned by several of the candidates for council. I think that it was mentioned by Kim, the website is in dire need of updating. It's not user-friendly at all. We need to be doing regular updates on the website, let people know what's going on. Facebook, and also for those that aren't tech-savvy, we need to do regular newsletters outlining what's going on in town, what the plans are, and what we're looking for in the future. The lack of transparency is an issue for me, and let me give you a brief example of a lack of transparency. The Municipal Act states that audited financial statements for the previous year must be made available for the public by June 30th of the following year. I went to the town office last week, requested an audit statement for last year, and it was not yet available, which is several months after June 30th. This to me is not acceptable and will not happen if I'm elected. I will work to ensure the culture of can't is ended. The culture of can't is the cause of many issues. It is why I believe, as I mentioned earlier, people are not volunteering for boards and committees or quitting boards and committees because they're always told we can't. Let me tell you about my personal experience with the culture of can't. The Chamber of Commerce offered to the town for free a couple of concrete wheelchair accessible picnic tables. We thought it was a pretty nice gesture. Instead of being received graciously and getting a big thank you that's very generous, we were told, oh no, wait, we can't do that. We literally had to beg and cajole for months to be allowed to give free picnic tables to the town. The culture of can't must be replaced with the culture of how, as in how can we make this work? How can we get this done? Great idea, let's look into that. We need to encourage people to come forward with ideas and participate in their implementation. The more community members work together toward a common goal, the more the community as a whole will benefit. Lastly, I am committed to restoring the citizens' trust in their municipal council. It doesn't matter whether you live on First Street or Dixon Street, near Menteith or Bunclody. Your voice will be heard, your concerns will be addressed, and your ideas will be appreciated. I'm Dwayne Davison, I'm running for mayor. I look forward to the challenge and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
What do I hope to accomplish if elected? As stated earlier, with the support of my council members, I would hope to help improve the quality of life for our residents. This would certainly include strong medical services, the required staffing levels, and upgraded facilities. As a member of the board of Souris Health District Foundation, we aim to help with the latter, where finance from the province never seem to go. I would also want to maintain and enhance our wonderful recreational facilities, Arena Complex, Victoria Park, including pool and campground, the golf course, and others. A community of our size always has to balance wants with needs. This is never easy. As one of 7 elected officials for your municipality, my priorities will be continue upgrades on decaying infrastructure in town and the rural areas, continue upgrades on the community hall so that we can proudly host regional and provincial events, replace the liner of the swimming pool in the not too distant future, make sure our equipment is in good repair with bigger items such as graders kept under warranty wherever possible, continue to urge the provincial and federal governments to work with North Dakota and Saskatchewan to control drainage and provide resources for those who would hold water on their land at certain times of the year. Lastly, try to keep tax increases to a minimum. Look for inventive ways to pay for some of our costs. And I would appreciate your support on October 26th. Thank you.
We have one final question for Daryl, who is seeking re-election. We heard from the councillors about the significant accomplishments that have happened during their past tenure. We'd like to know what is the biggest accomplishment or the one or several accomplishments that you are most proud of in your tenure over the time you've been here.
Thank you. I'm kind of the 7th wheel here, or 6th wheel, I guess, because the others have answered. Honestly, I don't particularly like the wording of this question. It asks a pointed question to each individual councillor about accomplishments. There is no capital I in the word council. We have acted as a team of 7, made decisions as a team of 7. If elected, this is how we should continue to operate. While I'm up here, though, I'll give you 3 accomplishments that I think all councillors would agree on. One is the redevelopment of Crescent Avenue. We waited a long time for federal and provincial funding to come through for that one. Removal of the old building at 11 Crescent Avenue was a big plus as well. 2, continuation of our road repair and culvert drainage projects in the rural areas, and paving and water main renewal projects in town. And thirdly, holding the line generally on tax increases compared to inflation. I'm a budget conscious kind of guy, and I want to make sure we stay within our means. Thank you.
Thank you. Best of luck to all the candidates that you've heard here tonight. I would like to remind everybody that WCG will be putting this through the editing process and putting it on YouTube, and you can share it with your family and friends, probably in a couple of days. I'd like to thank you, the volunteers from WCG TV who have been running the camera, some of the volunteers from the Avalon who have helped with the sound system, and as well Loretta Turner, who has spearheaded this entire event. We thank you for and her role on the chamber and all that she's done to bring this to you. On behalf of the Souris and Glenwood Chamber of Commerce, the Avalon Theatre, and WCG TV, thank you all for attending, and please remember to vote on October 26th at the Memorial Complex or at the advanced polls October 19th. Both dates, the polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you for coming.